Hi, I'm Mike Messier, and welcome to Short Film Showcase, where we feature the very best in local short films from New England and across the world. We have two very special interviews with in-studio guests on this episode. But first, let's take a look at The Target, a great short film from one of our guests. Here it is, The Target, right here on Short Film Showcase.
My name is Nilla Jones, and I'm the most deadly assassin in the world.
Hey, honey.
Most of my clients are the white-collar types that hire me to take out the competition.
I'm on my way home now. Late night. The company acquired for $130 million today. 10% of which is my bonus. Yeah. I know, honey. I'll tell you all about it when I get home. Okay? Love you.
Shut up. Some of my clients hire me to kill their cheating wives. Every now and then, I even get a target of some drug-dealing piece of shit.
It's been going on for like 20 minutes now. You want to knock, man. I got time to be playing with you niggas. You got the 3-2 though, right? 3-2? Of course, nigga. All right. It's 3-2 right you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. I'm good. What you doing out here so late?
Just walking.
Just walking, huh?
Just change, remember to
Yo, if you don't back away from my car, I'm gonna give you something to beg about. What's wrong with that?
But don't judge me. Sometimes I'm in a situation to do some good.
Hey, cutie. Oh, you looking good tonight. Oh, what a ride to the tree of love. Bitch! You bitch! You think you can calm me down? Hey, you mind your own business! Get the f*** off her! Now to be a f***ing hero? You wanna be a f***ing hero? Try me! Try me, motherfucker! F*** you! Get over here, you bitch! Get over here, prick!
If you've heard of me, you fear me. Because I'm always one step ahead.
My name is Jack Stryker, and I'm the most deadly assassin in the world.
Welcome back to Short Film Showcase. I'm Mike Messier, and right now in studio we have Wes Williams II.
What's up, Mike?
How you doing, Wes?
Pretty good, brother.
Now let me just say that you were the writer-director of our first film there, The Target.
Yeah.
And that was, I saw that, and that's just a great piece, a lot of action.
Right.
Lee Simmons, one of my favorite actors from the New England area.
Right.
And his character is what again?
His name was Nellick Jones. He was, I guess, one of the most deadly assassins in the world. So throughout the course of this film, he basically proves that to the audience.
And he does have a heart of gold, so to speak, because he protects that young girl outside the hot dog stand type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny, when we shot that scene, the place that we shot it behind, I live not too far from there. I told him I wanted to do a scene, and he was like, yeah, just come on down. So we actually shot that behind, a local store where I was. And onto what you was saying, yeah, I guess he does. It basically, that scene was to kind of humanize him, because, all this killing scenes, it's just to say, hey, this is kind of just my job, but see, I can help too. And that's kind of that whole scene.
I'm a regular guy with an irregular job.
Exactly, yeah, basically.
And I liked in the beginning of the film especially how the the voice manipulation with the voiceover, you kind of have that echo effect.
Right.
Which gives it was that your idea? Because it's really cool.
Yeah, when we was doing the audio for it, that one scene, we actually brought Lee back to actually say that one line because we didn't say it before because we were shooting different scenes. But yeah, I just thought that it'd be kind of cool because there was lots of space between words. So to kind of cover up that space, I threw in a reverb, and it worked out real nice.
It's very nice. I like it a lot. And you had Diana Porter. You had some great actors in this movie.
Absolutely.
And just really cool piece. Now, is that piece something you want to build upon for further action films?
Well, you know, there's a rumor around the city that there's a sequel out there, or there's a sequel being made, and I'm not going to say if that's true or not, but you know, it's something to definitely consider depending on how many people, you know, going forward like that particular film.
Well, I liked it.
Yeah,
So-
and I loved it, and with Diana Porter and, like, you know, Jennifer, I should say, and Arthur. I mean, everyone was really great on set. Everyone was really nice. I mean, there was gaps like in every film, but no one ever really kind of gave me too much pushback because I promised them a good film and that it would be worth it. And I guess, like you said, you liked it, and I heard the same from a lot of people, so it worked out.
One more thing about The Target is you guys shot for was a 7 or 8 minute film?
Yeah.
And you shot seemingly about 7 or 8 locations at least.
So there was a few locations. One of them was actually a friend. He's an actor friend of mine, and I didn't have a house.
Right.
So Lee Simon's house is actually Ostolito's real house. But yeah, it was a few different locations. The garage, the opening scene. It's funny. I actually used to work in that building, and I knew I wanted a garage, but I didn't know I could shoot one, and I had the police come through the scene. So the garage that I went to every day at this job, I started talking to the guy that I guess lifts the gate or whatever. I told him that I make films. You know, I'd love to come and shoot here. And then he's like, you know what? Just come on here on Saturday from 2 to 5. I'm working. You could shoot it, and then whatever. So that's all I needed to hear. I called up Jax. I called up John Keefe and the rest of the crew, and boom, there was the garage scene.
Nice. And we talk about Camp 9 Films. You're wearing a nice shirt. That's great.
Thanks.
What inspired you, Wes, to just start your own film group, your own film company, and just get this going?
So it's a long story, and I won't keep it too long-winded. But basically, before I got into film, I was making music, and so I was a music producer for years. I mean, I was making beats since I was like 9. So by the time I was like 18, 19, I was pretty good. Like, you know, we was making beats for like you know, MTV, BT, like respectable people. So I thought that was going to be my route, and lo and behold, one day I get a call, and it's like, hey, Rick Ross, you know, he's doing this new album, and he heard some beats, he wants to see you guys. At that point, I was with 3 other producers. We were the in crowd.
Right.
So we flew down to Miami. At the hotel, we was like, yeah, we did it. And like, so when we actually went to the studio, again, there was 4 of us. We pulled up, you know, there's Rolls Royces, there's Range Rovers. It was just like, you know, we looked at each other like, this is it.
Right, right.
And so we went in, and the guy who basically arranged the whole meet, if you will, he was like the youngest out of us. So he got to play his beats first. It was like, all right, who has the CD? And then that particular person went up, played the tracks. So, you know, unfortunately, this guy was really talented, but I honestly think he was a little ahead of his time.
Right.
Because, you know, the tracks, he was like, you know, Rick Ross is like, okay, next. Okay, next. All right, you guys are good. And then that was it. Like, he was like, you guys can leave, you know, bring in the next people. And, you know, I never even got to play any beats, and neither did 2 other producers I was with. So I was like, we was driving back, and we was like, wow. Like, that's it. So when I got back to Boston, I was just like, you know what? I think I'm done with music for a while. I was like, let me try to get into this film thing. Let me see what's going on. So I tried my hand at acting, and then I found myself as an extra on this student short And I had so much fun.
Right,
It was so fun, and like we was breaking doors and all this stuff, and I thought it was awesome. And the director was like 24 or something.
Sure.
So I was like, this is awesome. Yeah, I was like, let me try to do this more. So you know, I got some headshots and stuff, and then I ended up being in Arthur's film, Conned.
Sure.
I was an extra in that. And after I seen that, I was like, oh man, like this is it. But after that, my acting roles dried up. Like there's no extras, like there was no work. So I was like, you know what? What if I started my own? What if I got behind the lens and then like created my own work instead of waiting for someone to give me some type of handout? So at that point, that's when I put out the ad like, hey, I'm looking for writers. You know, I had this idea, hit me up. And then, you know, I got hit up by lots of different people. But one guy in particular, his name's Ralph Celestin, and he's still, you know, the writer at camp. But you know, yeah, we conversed, we met, we talked about Boston, and then that's kind of how Boston came about. And I think you have, you know, a trailer for that one.
Yeah, we do have a trailer for Boston. We'll show in just a few minutes.
Sure.
And very, very impressed with what you just said about empowerment. You just said, you know what, I'm not going to sit around and wait for other people to cast me or for this project to show up. I'll make my own projects.
Right.
And that's exactly what you did. That's so admirable.
I mean, you know, I didn't, you know, people do say that to me, but it was, you know, I couldn't just like sit around. And then, you know, when we was doing Boston, even though I was the only crew, my cast all kind of came together to make this happen. So it was like this camaraderie thing. And like, I was kind of the leader of it. And it was like, it was really things. So it became more than just like doing projects. It was like, you know, if you do this, you can bring together all these people, and then from there, everyone grows. So, like, that stunned me. And then that's when I was like, ooh, I think I kind of like film. But I was, of course, scared. What are people going to think? Are people going to think it sucks? Are they going to hate? They're going to say my actors are terrible. I mean, and, you know, that's, you know, it's funny that you make all this stuff and you're really a slave to the viewers, the audience. They're the boss. You're not the boss. But when they say that they like it and other people do, it's like, oh, it's so worth it. It
feels good.
Yeah, it feels awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah. And as an artist, I mean, that's the give and take of between the artists and the audience.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You do want that. You do want that audience to like what you're doing.
Right.
Sometimes you can't please everybody.
You're right, and that's one thing I've definitely noticed as well. Where you know, some people's roses, they're like, oh, you know, like this or that, and of course you can't please everyone else. However, overwhelmingly, everyone was like, that was like the dopest thing I've ever seen. Like, is this just a short? Is this gonna be a full? And like, it's stuff like that that keeps me pushing forward.
Right.
I mean, because right now, you know, none of us are making money.
Right.
I mean, it's not. We're doing projects to get rich, you know, but I think if we keep making projects that are good, we can be at that point. So that's what kind of my main drive is, I guess.
That's good. I mean, you just got to keep digging forward. We talk about some other things. It says here on your, you were born on an Air Force base. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so I'm not going to say I was a military brat because I wasn't, but yeah, my dad was in the Air Force, and I was born in Illinois, and you know, we lived there for quite some time, and then after that, we moved to St. Louis. So I lived in St. Louis for a few years, then after that, we moved to Texas. But this all wasn't military related. It was just because people lived in different places, and then, you know, I finally ended up in Boston because my grandma was here on my dad's side, and basically we needed shelter. So we all went to my Nana's, and that's eventually how my roots got started in Boston.
Okay, cool. And it says you watched your fair, like myself, you watched a fair share of TV growing up.
Yeah, lots of TV. I mean, in the beginning, because I like music, it was all about music videos. I mean, I would sit there at BET, the basement, the Big Tigger or whatever, and I would sit there for hours and do it. And then, you know, also, you know, TV, because my mom works so many jobs, movies was sometimes our babysitter.
Right.
And one thing that kind of probably shaped me as an action director or someone that likes to shoot, not necessarily violent stuff, but, you know, things blowing up and people chasing people, is because the videos that my mom brought were like, it was like Commando, you know?
Yeah.
It was like, you know, other action films that 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds probably shouldn't see, but that definitely, I mean, that's kind of probably what honed me in. And then, you know, for a while I was a security guard, and I would sit behind the desk, and, you know, of course you're doing your job, but when nobody's there, I was watching movies and watching TV shows, and then I just got like in love with movies just because it's like, you know, everything here is fake. This is all made up.
Right.
And it's real. So it was like that whole creative process.
Planted the seeds.
Exactly, absolutely.
That's awesome, Wes. And we talk about, we did see the target, and after our interview, we're going to see two pieces, Boston and Rosie's Diner. And so tell me about those pieces, if you could.
I guess I'll go back to Boston since I was beginning. Again, that was, you know, my first project. I just wanted to see if I can do it. We shot on like a GL2, a Sony GL2. Yeah. It was like, you know, it was actually on a tape. Like it's funny because, you know, you come so far. But yeah, and everyone rocked with me. Unfortunately, we didn't get to finish the movie because it was a feature.
Right.
I started my first project with a feature, which is everyone knows that's filmmaking 101, you don't do.
Right.
So basically, I lost steam at the half of it. One of my actors moved to LA.
Oh.
You know, another one, you know, he moved to Virginia.
Right.
So I couldn't complete the film. But what we do have out is essentially what it was going to be. And the actors from that, I basically recycled in all my other projects, like Ray Booten, who's in Boston as one of the main guys. In Rosie's Diner, he's one of like the diner patrons or whatever.
Right.
So you know, I try to show the love because I mean, in Boston especially, I had no resources to speak of.
Yeah.
I didn't have any name or anything. So for them to trust me and kind of get in front of the camera for someone that was such a rookie, I mean, I'm really you know, I'm really thankful for it. So I try to, you know, going forward, keep bringing them back, you know, if they want to, of course.
New England has got some great actors, a lot of talent, and a lot of actors will just do so much for the director, so much for the producers, and sacrifice their time,
absolutely,
you know, energy, and even you know, gas money, really, to just show up and be there for you. And
yeah, you know, and it's amazing. I mean, I've seen it time and time again. You know, from Boston to the Target, you know, to Rosie's, to the movie titled Missing that never came out because I hated it. But I don't know, maybe one day I'll show people that movie, but I hated it. But again, yeah, these people came out, some people from, you know, Manchester, New Hampshire, another guy from Randolph coming to like Wilmington, Massachusetts to shoot a scene, and I'm not paying them anything. Of course I fed you. I have to feed you because I got to feed myself too.
Sure.
So, you know, but otherwise than that, I mean, yeah. So, you know, again, I'm really thankful about that.
That's great, Wes. And what inspired you? Let's go back to, you know, you were watching TV as a youngster, as I was, and what kind of got in your head as far as like films or specific TV shows or films that really said, man, this is great stuff, and I want to be in the game a little bit?
You know, actually, most of it wasn't until later, when I was a security guard, actually. It was watching Lost.
Okay.
I thought Lost was awesome. The way that they shot it, the storyline, it was just, it was so gripping, and it was so good for so many years. So, I mean, I was a huge fan of that. And to go back to when I was like 9 or 10, Commando was the movie. Like, I watched that a billion times.
Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Alyssa
Milano.
Exactly.
And remember when I said I'd kill you last? I lied. That one.
And the funny part is I was watching that the other day in the hotel, and I was like, wow. I was like, this movie is so violent, and like for kids to watch it. But yeah, I mean, that's the kind of stuff. And of course, I liked cartoons or whatever. But that's kind of the kid stuff. More after being like 16, 17. I didn't even, like I said, my love was all music until I was right about 19, and then, you know, I kind of switched over from there, and that's kind of, you know, where I am now.
You're like, this music business is pretty tough. Let me just go make films. That'll be easy.
Yeah, exactly. Which is very silly, and that's actually a good point to note, because making music, I'm not going to say it's easier. Producing music now, I mean, you have a computer and software, and that's all you need. For a film, are you kidding me? You need, you know, you need the cast, you need the crew. We got to have the writers. Where's the makeup? What is the location cool? Do we need production insurance? What about the camera? How much does that cost? I mean, it's a way bigger challenge, and that's probably another thing that drew it to me as well, because I do like challenges, and you know, making a film is very challenging. It actually defeats most, but yeah, I really like it.
It's awesome. And you've got a website that you can
check out? The website is camp9films.com. It's HTML5. We actually just worked on the look of it last night. So soon we will have the clothing on there. I know that's one thing that we're working in the back end. That's probably one of the most underutilized parts of our whole business model is the whole clothing thing. So we're basically revamping considerably, essentially rebranding that whole thing. So shirts like this, such simple shirts will basically be going away, and it's, you know, it will signify, and I have some designs, and of course I didn't bring them, but it's really cool. Again, we're not a clothing company though. It will say Camp 9, you will know it, but yeah, that's another part we're working on too. So the clothing will be up there, but as of right now, if you go there, you'll see the Target, you'll see Boston, you won't see Rosie's, not yet, but you will see everything else we're about.
Well, we are going to see some of your work, some more of your work, right after this interview. But just want to, you know, say thank you so much. And real quick, we just have a few seconds. Is there any actors out there that you'd like to work with in the future? Actors that our general audience might say, oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm working on this film called District C11. Me and the writers kind of going back and forth, bickering about how we're going to get it done, or, you know, what should happen. And that bickering always happens, but at the end, it's always like this compromise. But anyways, to answer your question, you know, there's actors from like One Tree Hill, excited about it. T-Dog from The Walking Dead, he's excited about it. I mean, Tony Todd. I mean, there's lots of other people, and people that it's like, really, that guy? Like one of the ones in, I don't want to drop any names or whatever, but people in like The Blade, the series, not Trinity, the 98 one. However, you know, people all across, and I'm not even talking about our New England actors, but what I did want people to know is that like known actors aren't going to be driving the next film. It's going to be the no-name actors who are going to be driving, and then I'm just going to sprinkle in faces that you recognize and kind of have them work in unison to make, you know, District C11.
Using the rising talent, that's great, Wes.
Absolutely.
Well, we've run out of time, but we do have time to show some of your work. So we're going to see Boston and Rosie's Diner. So I want to introduce that, and I want to say thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Wes Williams.
Anytime.
Thank you very much.
No problem, Mike.
Right now on Short Film Showcase, we're going to take a look at some more of Wes's work. It's Boston, followed by the trailer for Rosie's Diner, right here on the Short Film Showcase.
Captain's been on my ass about getting some answers. We don't eat, we don't sleep, we don't drink until we bust this case wide open. Listen, Lance Woodland's the biggest drug dealer in the area. You know why? He's got no juvie. He's got no priors. He's virtually invisible. That's why we can't connect him in.
I want this right here for what for me more than anything in my entire life.
Calling backup. Officer requests assistance 28 Seaport Boulevard.
This doesn't, Dad. I've been waiting for this for a long time.
Are you crazy, Dad?
What's some balls, Bryan? Let's just do it.
All right.
Can I top that off for you?
Yes, thank you.
Hey, yo, we gonna go up in here, and we're gonna smoke this motherfucker and be off it.
I know I'm a hard ass on you, and I give you a hard time, but I care about you, and this guy is giving me the creeps. Do you have nightmares?
Welcome back to Short Film Showcase. At this time, we have another very special in-studio guest. It's Van Brockman. Van Brockman.
Mike, thank you.
Glad to have you here.
Glad to be here.
You're an actor from the Scituate area.
Yes.
And, you know, as it says right here on your bio, movie star name, Van Brockman, ready to take on the world. Love that name. That's great.
Totally.
And tell us about yourself. Tell us about your acting and everything.
Acting, it actually didn't occur to me that I wanted to act until like pretty much at the age of 10. Basically, I was introduced through acting by doing church plays, Christmas pageants, and that's where it all began. I didn't get into the film industry until 2 years ago.
Okay.
At that point, as most people who are new to the film industry, I didn't have much in the way of resources, so I basically had to start from the bottom up and just dig around, research, took a little bit of class here and there, and did a lot of stuff, such as go on Craigslist.
Sure.
There's always gigs on Craigslist, so, and I've done a few video submissions, and that's one of the things I have to tweak on is the video submissions, but everything just kind of bloomed up from there and just got myself involved in so many film projects I was not expecting. So
you're a go-getter, and let's go back to the beginning. Like you said you grew up kind of in a church family. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
So you're kind of put in the mix as far as the plays and who's going to act in this? Let's get Bryan. He's right here.
Well, it's basically both my parents are priests. My mom is the person that I always tag along with when it comes to doing plays and stuff, because she was actually in charge of the campus ministries and worked with children.
Right.
So I was mainly involved and well dedicated to those type of projects, and alone serving my church when I was young. And that's how everything got started.
That's great. And kind of planted those seeds of creativity and public speaking and performance. That's great. And so you've worked on some stuff here as extra work, background acting. And it's a great way to get started, as we all know.
Yes.
And tell us about some of those experiences, if you can.
My first film was Here Comes the Boom. That film was actually quite funny. I just moved to Massachusetts, and I submitted for that film less than 24 hours after moving, and like 2 hours later, I got a call. It's like, hey, we want you to be on a Hollywood film set and play as non-U.S. citizens for Here Comes the Boom. I was like, what?
Right.
So it was like kind of a welcome to Massachusetts. You're on a Hollywood film set. My experience with that one, it was quite fun and fabulous, not to mention getting to meet and talk with Kevin James a little bit before we had to reset and reshoot the same scene. But when I doing that for the first time, I actually enjoyed it, so I basically kept an eye out for more submissions through Boston Casting. That's where I got it from.
That's a great company out of Boston, obviously, casting company.
They are a big company, and they are the huge generating extra company for all of Hollywood films coming in.
And the good thing, sometimes people watch our show and they don't realize you start off doing some background acting, extra work, whatever you want to call it, and then the next thing you know, you could get a call for an audition for a speaking part, and then
I've gotten that before, actually.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah,
and you just put your best foot forward. You said you did some work, a little bit of work on American Hustle.
Yes, I did one-day work on American Hustle. I played as one of our patrons. Needless to say, I ran into a few actors that we pretty much all know that were actually a part of that scene. That was quite fun. The scene I was in, I was actually close standing next to all the heavyweight actors. And got a little chat with them, but they were very nice people. The director of that particular film, I actually enjoy how he works. He's one of the types of people who really wants all the scenes to be perfect.
Right.
And he will do as many takes as it takes to make that particular scene perfect in the way he wants to see it.
I heard about that. I heard David O. Russell is kind of like directing so hands-on. He's like almost 2 feet, 3 feet away from the actors, kind of feeding them direction as they're actually filming.
I consider him as that person with an iron fist.
Wow. Wow. That's great. That's great. And just the way you said that, do you have any inclinations in the future maybe to get on the other side of the camera, do some more directing?
I am in a working process. I do want to get behind the lens and pretty much try to do direct and act at the same time. I do have a script that's actually completed. It's now in the final revision. Both a friend of mine up in Vermont been working on this project for like a year now, and now we're into a process where we're just looking for directors, producers, and see who'd be interested in doing it. As far as me being behind the lens, I'll probably help out the casting and just do the assistant directing part, because I basically know what visions and what the scenes I want to come out. Pretty much the story is by me, the script is written by my friend. And then I got another film a script that I would like to begin writing. I have yet to start on. It's called Armory 2, but I think I'm going to make that one first a short film. If you've seen the basic video game of Army of Two, it's somewhat a genre in that, but it involves a female who's like, it dates to 2024,
Okay.
where females were allowed to go into special operations and go on the front lines.
Right.
So it's basically go into infiltrating heavily defended enemy territories. My vision's like a lot of guns blazing, explosion, tanks, but that's kind of a dream that I can hope to see come true. So.
Well, you know, just take those steps, you know, with your acting and everything, and you do a little bit of work on RIPD. It says here you've just done a lot of stuff, and it says you grew up in Maryland, but you were born in Texas.
Yep.
And tell us about that a little bit, growing up.
Growing up, I actually did go through a little struggle. I was born in Texas. I lived with my original parents. There was actually 4 of us. I'm also a twin, my twin sister. We went through a rough phase with my family where we just weren't getting enough nourishment, food, attention. So, and that was basically in 1996 was when 1995 or 1996, I can't remember, it was so long ago. But we got taken away and then put into foster home. And then 1997 or 1996, I got adopted and put into the family I have now. But I can tell you the fact that the way I see my life from what was like in the beginning, from when I was young to now, it's just like, wow, if none of that had happened, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now.
Right. Very positive outlook.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of the greatest actors, filmmakers, artists in general have been through those early childhood struggles and have had to overcome diversity with challenges, you know, and overcome these problems that is no fault of their own, but just life deals you with this deck of hands, you know, and you just deal with it and you fight through it.
It's basically those I've gone through, I consider them as being survivalists.
Yeah.
And you know how to endure and how to fix it. So.
Yeah. And just now you're in this business, and as we both know, it's a challenging business.
It is a challenging business. I chose this just because I love challenges. As far as the competition with competing for acting roles and stuff, I don't let that bother me because it's just, I've been through that before, and it's kind of, it's out there. It's like, okay, competition, big deal.
Yeah,
Nothing new to me. So it's just, I go out there, audition for roles. Oh, I didn't get this role. Oh, well, move forward, next role.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, as actors, myself an actor, you can get so worked up and intense, and then as soon as that audition's over, you just got to leave it behind you.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, move on. Where do you see yourself going? Like, if you were to, you know, 5 years from now or even 2 years from now, have that magic mirror up and say, this is where Van Brockman's going to be, where would you like to see that go?
Where I'm at right now, I hope to see myself, get involved with more film projects and possibly, hopefully, either be in New York or either in LA.
Okay.
But in order to do that, we have to work towards that and work real hard to get to that goal.
Yeah, it's not an overnight success. No. I mean, some of these successes say, I was an overnight success, 25 years in the making, you know?
Totally.
Yeah. So Van, who are some of the inspirations you've had, you know, growing up, seeing films, any films that kind of tweaked your interest and said, yeah, you know, film is awesome?
Most films that I watched in my past life were actually war films, and then as far as with actors-wise goes, few actors that do inspire me were mainly Jackie Chan, Jet Li.
Oh yeah.
Ben Watanabe.
Tell me about him, because I'm not too familiar.
Ben Watanabe, if you have seen the Letters from Iwo Jima,
okay.
He played as one of the high-ranking generals who were supposed to, their mission was to heavily defend the coast of Iwo Jima against the American invasion attack. And at one point he couldn't, so basically he was at the last decision where either he defended or he just takes whatever troops he has left and go against Americans. In Last of the Samurai, that's actually one of my favorite films, where it involved forget his name, an actor who was in that. He was also in Ghost Protocol. Tom Cruise.
Oh yeah,
Tom
Cruise,
Cruise was in Last Samurai as playing as the American Civil War captain.
Right.
And then he got captured by the samurais and was held in captivity for quite a while. And basically, Ben Watanabe's character, I mean, surprisingly, was very nice to him, just talking with him, getting to know his way. And Tom Cruise's character just becomes friendly with him, and they all kind of have a mutual friend agreement, and then eventually they let him go.
Right.
Until the point where the Japanese Empire wanted to change everything up and disbanded samurais, in which the samurais have been around for, if you've studied history, for quite a while.
Right.
And so there was a point where there was a civil war of the Japanese, whereas like the Japanese wearing our Civil War uniforms versus the samurais, and it's to the point where Tom Cruise's character, where he knows the way of the troops and movements, tries to defend the samurais.
I can tell that this movie influenced you, and maybe planting seeds for some of your own writing, perhaps? Or?
Watching this movie, yes, it does.
Yeah.
And then watching all the other war movies, it just gives me different ideas.
Yeah.
So, I mean, ideas just keeps constantly in my head, and you're wondering, do I ever sleep at night? 90% of the times I try to fall asleep, and it's like, oh, gotta get up, right.
That's great, that's great. Any more projects that you're working on now that maybe, you don't want to give away too much to the audience, but anything that you want to talk about creatively that's coming to mind?
None at the moment. I know I'm trying to hear back from when they're going to need me on Theory of Conflict. I am part of that project.
Okay.
But I'm just waiting to hear back from them.
Yeah.
As far as the other film projects coming up, none so far.
Okay. Well then, we go through all this information, and it seems like your life has just had so many twists and turns and challenges, and it's great to see you involved in the scene and bringing it on strong. Anything else you'd like to talk about with our audience, just because we want to get to know you and, you know?
There have been things that I just tell people. I mean, I get a lot of questions asked, like, how are you getting so many roles, and how are you doing this? As far as on top of that, having support from my parents, because my parents didn't know I wanted to do this.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are things that I tell people. Ways to get roles is to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And one of the things I want to do and have been trying to do and giving back to the community, the New England film industry actually, is give people the resources that I use to get out there, get myself out there, and get these many roles. And I mean, there are times when I sometimes recommend people that are like casting, this particular person may be of interest to you, so talk with them. Or
Right.
this person may be interested to you, talk with them, or go audition for this role. And actually did create a Facebook community page, which is called the East Coast Asian Actors and Foreign Actors Models Group. What that deals with is basically any Asian talents that are along the East Coast can join that page and get all the different calls that I generate and get from different emails or from different people, and just post it on there. So that way the people in the population that I'm in, the minorities, can actually go out there and audition for these and not have to be missing out on all these auditions.
It's a great idea, and you created that group yourself. That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, say that name again, just...
East Coast Asian and Foreign Actors and Models Group.
Nice. And they can find that right on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I was checking out your own personal website today, your professional acting website. You want to tell us what that is again?
That website I created about last year. I did that because I was starting to generate a lot of photos and bios and resume, and I created that just for marketing purpose reason, in case if, say, directors, producer are looking for people, they can just type in my name if they pops up and, oh, check this guy out.
Just Google Van Brockman or any search engine.
It pops up there. Like if you type in my name, it just you see all these different things about me.
Brockman with 2 N's at the end.
Yeah.
Terrific. We just have about a minute left, but I like to ask this question sometimes. You see yourself in any movie, maybe with one co-star and a director of your choice, besides me, and our producer Bryan Casey, but who would your ideal director and ideal co-star be, Van?
Well, I'm one of those type of guys who enjoys doing stunts and would like to do stunts too, so I would probably say Tom Cruise.
Okay.
As far as the directing-wise, Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Yes, he does.
That's great. Well, Van Brockman, I just want to thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
And we're going to be seeing big things from you in the future.
Yes, sir.
This has been another great episode of Short Film Showcase. I'm so pleased to be your host, Mike Messier. I want to thank Wes Williams and Van Brockman for being the guests on our show. Bryan Casey, our producer, and I discuss things, and Bryan wants you to know that if you have a short film that you'd like to feature on the Short Film Showcase, please contact Bryan through bcfilms.net. That's Bryan Casey at bcfilms.net. And for all you wannabe, would-be, potential filmmakers out there thinking about getting your story into a short film, please, if you can dream it, shoot it. I'm Mike Messier for Short Film Showcase.